Now that the Olympic teams are officially announced, a lot of people think they know what the next few weeks are going to look like. Big performances, big moments, clean skates, deciding on medals, but the Olympics almost never go the way you expect, especially in figure skating. And if you know what to look for, you can usually see that before the games even begin. I'm breaking down everything you need to know from who's going to medal, which performances you cannot miss, and which skaters are going to shock us all. Let's get into it. The 2026 Olympics in Milan will feature men's and women's singles, ice dance, pairs, and a team event just like in past years. But this year, the competition is stacked with rising stars and returning veterans. The women's event is probably the most stacked Olympic event in many years. Typically, there are 2 or 3 contenders for a gold medal and a few more for gold, but this year I think most of the event is a contender for a medal, and there are a few more contenders for gold. Let's start with the U.S. women. The U.S. qualified for 3 spots for this year's Olympics, and after many successful skates at this year's Nationals, they decided to send Alyssa Liu, Amber Glenn, and Isabel Levito. Amber and Alyssa both have gorgeous triple axels. I'm not sure Alyssa is going to be doing it. I know for sure Amber will be attempting her triple axel, but I think both of these skaters are potential for Olympic gold. And I also think that their expression and unique styles are pushing this sport forward in ways that it hasn't before. As a side note, I am curious what free program Alyssa's going to be doing, because she had one program and then she switched it to Lady Gaga, and personally I think she needs to go back to that other program because as fun as Lady Gaga is, I think it doesn't show her components as much as her other program does. Isabel Levito is a very strong skater with gorgeous programs, but I do not see her being a medal contender at the Olympics. If she skates well, she could maybe aim for bronze, but I think realistically that the competition from other countries like Japan and the neutral athletes from Russia are just so competitive that they will be fighting for the bronze. Let's move on to the next country with some of the fiercest competition, Japan. Japan also qualified for 3 spots at this Olympics, which is also the maximum amount of spots that any country can qualify for. The fact that they could only send 3 women to the Olympics made their national competition so intense this year. They had about 5 incredible skaters that were great options for the Olympics. These skaters were Kaori Sakamoto, Mone Chiba, Amy Naki, Mao Shimada, and Rinka Watanabe. Ultimately, the decision was Kaori Sakamoto for being one of the best skaters in the world for the past few years, Mone Chiba, and Amy Naki. Because these skaters are so strong, I do think they are all definitely contenders for a medal. Realistically, I do expect Kaori Sakamoto to be on that podium, but one of the reasons I'm not 100% certain is because of the next skater, Adelina Petrosyan. Adelia is from Russia, but because of the ongoing Olympic sanctions due to global politics, Russian skaters are not competing against the Russian flag in Milan. Instead, a tiny number of Russian athletes who meet strict neutrality vetting can qualify to compete as individual neutral athletes. Because of the ban on Russian skaters, no one has really competed against Adelia internationally, except those who competed at the Olympic qualifiers in September. She won the competition, and honestly, I think she skated so beautifully. I 100% think she will be on the Olympic podium, and I think there's a very big possibility that she will win. For me personally, there is one last podium contender, and that is Anastasia Gubanova from Georgia. She has very strong programs, strong jumps and spins, and once again, a contender for a medal. There are 2 Belgium skaters that I think could have been medal contenders 2 years ago, but I'm not so certain they are anymore. These skaters are Lona Hendricks and Nina Pizzarone. I absolutely love Lona Hendricks, and I think 2 years ago when she was winning everything, she could have absolutely done amazing at the Olympics, but I think since she had a surgery, she came back very strong, but not quite strong enough. I think the rest of the women's event is obviously very strong. Obviously, they are Olympians, but I think they are all going to be the bottom of the pack. Here are my honorable mentions. Madeline Chizas from Canada. Earlier this January, her and Gabby Leelman had an intense rivalry to see who would go to the Olympics. Madeline literally said, "Over my dead body is anyone else going to the Olympics?" To which Gabby responded with, "I'm like a witch, you can't kill me." This intense rivalry led to Madeline skating an almost perfect free skate, which led to her qualifying for the Olympics. I think she has a lot of fire in her. I love her programs, and I'm very excited to see how she does in Milan. Laura Naki from Italy has some of the most unique programs. I love the concept that she has for Jaws, and a couple years ago or last year she did Squid Games, which was very unique. I absolutely love her choreography, and I'm really happy that she was selected to go to the Olympics this year. Korean skaters Hyein Lee and Jia Shin are both beautiful and strong skaters. I would absolutely love to see them be podium contenders. I just feel like there's something missing for them to be competitive with skaters like Adelia, Kaori Sakamoto, or even Alyssa Liu. I do think they could definitely surprise me and do very well. I'm just personally not keeping my eye on them for medals, but I am very excited to see them skate very beautifully at the Olympics. Katarina Kurakova of Poland has so much experience in the sport, and I believe this is her second Olympics. I just think she has such a unique quality to her skating, and I always look forward to seeing how she does, so I'm excited to see her at the Olympics as well. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how this Olympics is going to turn out, but my podium prediction is going to be Adelina for gold, Alyssa for second, and Kaori Sakamoto for third. I feel like that is a complete shot in the dark. I would love to see Amber Glenn be on the Olympic podium. But I'm just going to leave my prediction as that because I genuinely have no idea, and we'll see if I get close. There are so many other incredible women competing at the 2026 Olympics, but I think that covered the bulk of it, so let's move on to the men. When everyone thinks of men's figure skating this year, they think of Ilya Malinin. Whether you agree with what he's doing with the sport or not, it is undeniable that he is pushing the sport in ways that no one has ever been able to do. With his 6 quads, including his axel and a backflip, he is definitely the Olympic favorite for the gold medal. Here's the catch: the Olympic curse. This is where the Olympic favorite, no matter how strong they are, end up not winning the Olympics. This happened in 2018 with Nathan Chen, and also in 2018 with Evgenia Medvedeva, and in 2014 with Yuna Kim. I personally don't think this is going to happen with Ilya just because of how strong he is, and he's been undefeated since 2022, but I am just keeping that in the back of my mind. The other US men, Andrew Torgashev and Maxim Naumov, are incredible skaters, but I do not think a medal is in sight for them. I am curious to see how they skate, and I am very happy that both of them were able to qualify for their first Olympics. A smaller country we have not yet talked about is Kazakhstan, and they are sending Mikhail Shaidurov. I apologize if I am butchering any of these names. But last year, he won the silver medal at the World Championships right behind Ilya, so going into the Olympic season, I thought he would be a top contender, but a few weeks ago at 4 Continents, he received 5th place behind Kaoru Miura and Junhwan Cha. Speaking of Kaoru Miura, which I believe I am butchering his name, I apologize, but he will be representing Japan alongside Yuma Kageyami and Shun Sato. I genuinely think every single one of them could medal at the Olympics. The quads and their quality of skating is just so out of this world. And just like the women's event, I think the Japanese men are going to excel at the 2026 Olympics. Korean skater Junhwan Cha is also very competitive for a medal. Him and Kaoru Miura nearly tied for the title at 4 Continents. Junhwan just has so much experience in this sport, and I've enjoyed being able to watch him grow and improve so much throughout the years. Canada's Steven Gogolev qualified for the Olympics at Canadian Nationals, and him and Roman Sadovsky were also having a bit of a showdown to see who would qualify. As you can probably tell, Canadian Nationals was a bit intense this year. I am actually very excited to see Steven skate, and I do wish that Roman were also able to go because I love them both equally. But the thing about Steven is I remember watching his Run Boy Run program when he was so young, and similar to Junhwan, I've been able to watch them grow and improve in the sport for so many years that it's just really special to be able to watch skaters go to the Olympics after so long. And also with the next skaters, Daniel Grasso and Matteo Rizzo of Italy are also within this group of skaters that Daniel did a really good skate at the Grand Prix final, placing 4th overall, and Matteo is another one of those skaters that I have seen throughout so many years, so they're all sort of in my honorable mentions. I am 100% also going to butcher this name, but moving on to Adam Xiao Himfa and Kevin Amos of France. I think Adam is 100% a contender for a medal. I think he is 100% competitive with Ilya, and he also has a backflip in his free program, so we will be seeing multiple backflips at this Olympics. I think his short program is what I'm most excited about because he is skating to what I skated for many years. Kevin Amos is a very hit or miss skater for me. He either does fantastic or the program is a complete flop. There's kind of no in between with him. So I really don't have any predictions with him just because it can really go either way. Obviously, he is a fantastic skater and I love his choice for his short program. I just am not the biggest fan of Bolero, and he did it last year. I was looking forward to him changing the free skate. He did not, so he was sticking with Bolero for the Olympic season. But yeah, I really do hope that he can do exactly what he did at Skate America because he had a fantastic skate. I know he was really happy with it, so I'm hoping that he can do the same at the Olympics. Boyoung Jin of China, in my mind, was a top contender for a medal because he's been in the sport for so long, and I know he has a triple axel and a quad. But then when I watched his skate at Chinese Nationals, something just felt like it was missing. And he also wasn't at the Grand Prix final, so Unfortunately, as much as I would love him to be a contender for a medal, I just think that's not realistic. The last skater in the men's event that I will be speaking about is Pyotr Gumenik, who is a Russian skater skating under the individual neutral athletes. His programs are stacked. I don't think they're as stacked as Adelina Petronik's of the women's event, but he is definitely a solid choice for Russia. This men's event is so stacked, I really don't know what to expect, and I honestly don't think some of the other athletes do either, because no one really has a long history of competing internationally against these Russian skaters, unless they went to the one competition in September, which not everyone went to. So I think it's going to be really interesting, it's going to be really intense, and I'm so excited to watch this. So once again, I feel like my prediction is sort of a shot in the dark. I think 100% Ilya is getting the gold. Silver, I think I'm going to say Yuma Kageyami of Japan, and bronze is going to go to Pyotr Gumenik of Russia. Well, individual athlete, but you know what I'm saying. Let's move on to my favorite event, ice dance. It is no secret that everyone is expecting United States, Madison Chalk, and Evan Bates to win the gold medal. At least from my opinions and the people in my circle, there is no question that they are the favorite for the Olympic gold medal. However, there are some teams that could easily take that away. Starting off with the other two U.S. teams, we have Kristina Carriera and Anthony Ponomarenko, and Emilia Zingas and Vadim Kolesnik. I think I definitely see Emilia and Vadim being higher up in the rankings. They just won 4 continents 2 weeks ago, got second at nationals, and qualified for the Grand Prix final this year, so I think they are definitely a threat for an Olympic medal if they skate their best. This next team is not only a definite medal contender, but is a threat for that gold medal, and it is French team Laurence Fournier-Baudry and Guillaume Ciceron. Guillaume actually won the gold in 2022 with his previous partner Gabriel Papadakis, and since teaming up with Laurence, has continued to dominate the international ice dance space. Some fans argue that their programs aren't technically difficult, but so far the judges seem to disagree because they always seem to be at the top of every competition, with the exception of the Grand Prix final where Chalk and Bates won the competition. Canada is sending 3 ice dance teams, with their top team being Piper Gills and Paul Poirier. This will be their 3rd Olympic Games, and they are hungry for that gold medal. They have always been very competitive with Chalk and Bates, but in my opinion, I think they are fighting for that bronze with Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson of Great Britain. This opinion might be a hot take, but in my opinion, Piper and Paul and Fear and Gibson both have potential for the bronze medal. Each team has different strengths and weaknesses, but those strengths and weaknesses are both so equal that I see them as equals in ice dance. And I mean, if you look at the Grand Prix final results, they were only 6 100ths apart. And to be honest, from the kiss and cry reactions, I can tell that Piper was not happy with that. But either way, I think the ice dance event is going to be an absolute showdown, and I am so excited. Now, let's move on to my ice dance honorable mentions because there are so many incredible athletes in this event. First, Great Britain's Phoebe Becker and James Hernandez are absolutely beautiful skaters. I mean, their Romeo and Juliet free dance is so beautifully done, and they have done so much this season to get here. During the Grand Prix season, they skated at Skate America, and during that competition, they got notified that they had to compete in Finland just a few days later. They packed up their bags and skated very well in Finland, and not only 2 weeks after that, they had to compete at another competition. They are just so dedicated, and I love their mindset of like, okay, this is crazy, we're gonna stay calm and do their best. And as a skater myself, I really look up to that. So they have gained so much respect from me, and I know a lot of other skaters and a lot of other teams have dealt with similar competitions and have a very similar mindset. But just with them, I love their skating, I love their vibe that they put out, and I am so happy for them that they are going to be at the Olympics. Milan will be Georgia's Diana Davis and Gleb Smolkin's second Olympics, and I think they are a very underrated team. For some context, Diana is the daughter of a Terry Tutberidze, so some people tend to take that and run their opinions with it, but they're going into my honorable mentions because I just look forward to them skating every single time. Natalie Tashlerova and Filip Tashler are a brother and sister duo from Czech Republic. The first time I saw them skate, I flew to Finland for the Grand Prix while I was actually studying abroad in Czech Republic, so ever since then, I just love rooting them on. And I'm such a fan of Matrix V programs, which is what they have decided to skate to this season. So they are just a very powerful team, and I think they bring a lot of dynamics into the events that they skate in. My last honorable mention might be one of my favorite couples in the last few years, and that is Olivia Smart and Tim Deek from Spain. Every program they do is always so unique and so different, and her programs are always so well thought out. For the 90s rhythm dance this year, they are skating to Freedom and Let Me Entertain You, but she is dressed in this Chanel-inspired dress, and for her Dune program, I just have no words. Just look at it. It is absolutely incredible, and last year, she actually won the ISC award for Best Dressed, and it is absolutely deserved. She looks stunning. I also just want to mention how strong and incredible this lift is from their free program. Come on, you can't deny how crazy and incredible that is. So for my ice dance podium predictions, I don't feel like this is as much of a shot in the dark like the other disciplines. I think the gold is going to Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. The silver is going to Laurence and Guillaume. And the bronze I actually don't know. The bronze can either be Paul and Piper or Leah and Lewis. Either one, I feel like equally could get the bronze. So that is my podium prediction. Moving on to pairs, I'm actually very excited for this event, much more than I usually am for pairs. And don't get me wrong, back in the day, my favorite event used to always be pairs, but I think it's really hard to find a really strong pairs team. And this year, there are multiple, so I am so excited for this event. We've started every other discipline with the US, so starting off with Emily Chan and Spencer Howe, and Ellie Kam and Daniel O'Shea. For the past few Olympics, the US has only gotten one spot for the pairs team, but this year we have two very strong teams. I would love to see one of these teams on the podium, and my prediction is if it is one of them, it's probably going to be Ellie Kam and Daniel O'Shea. I think they could fight for the bronze, but the silver and the gold medal is definitely going to be a fight between the Japanese and the Georgian team. Georgian team Anastasia Medalkina and Luka Berulava, which I feel like I butchered that name, but they are absolutely incredible, and I know what I said earlier about Bolero programs, but I'm going to make one exception, and I think that they were made for Bolero. This team is striving for gold, and I've previously said that they would not accept anything less than gold. They are a very consistent team, and I would say they'd be a guaranteed for gold if it weren't for Japanese team Riko Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. Miura and Kihara have dominated the pairs discipline for the past few years and are the two-time world champions. This will be their second Olympics. They are so incredible, and every time they step on the ice, I am completely floored. I genuinely thought they were so far above everyone else until I looked back at the Grand Prix final and realized that Italian couple Sara Conti and Niccolò Macchi are actually right behind them. They got second place by only 2 points, and for whatever reason were not on my radar at all. So I will definitely be looking out for them at the Olympics. Minerva Fabian Hasse and Nikita Volodin of Germany are the exact same thing for me. They did really good at the Grand Prix final, and I just never realized how good they were. So they are another team that will be on my Olympics radar. My honorable mention for the pairs discipline is Diana Stellano-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps from Canada. She is such an inspiration to me. She is 42, skating as one of the top pairs teams in the world, doing backflips and wearing a $50,000 Oscar de la Renta dress. It doesn't get more iconic than that. She is so incredible. I love her so much. And I did just find out that they had to withdraw from the team event because she sustained an injury during practice. So I'm wishing her all the best. I really hope that they compete in the pairs event, because I could not wait for her to skate at the Olympics. So my pairs podium prediction is Miura and Kihara for gold, Anastasia and Luka for silver, followed by Sarah and Niccolò for bronze. I do think, given all these skaters, my team event prediction is going to be USA for gold, Japan for silver, and Canada for bronze. I do think that the bronze can be sort of a toss-up for other countries, especially since Diana and Maxime withdrew from the Paris event, but I'm going to leave my prediction as is. So given all that and all my predictions, it's the Olympics and anything can happen. I'm just very excited to watch the games this year, especially since the last Olympics was during COVID and the vibes were just all off. I hope that this video gave you more context into the figure skating events, and if you're still confused, make sure to check out my video on all the rules and scoring, and I will also be reacting live to all the events, so make sure to check that out.